Listen, I have been working at the Galactic Medical Station Theta 9 for approximately 17 cycles now. It's 17 cycles of treating broken limbs, exotic parasites, and the occasional idiot who thought eating a Varanian slug would be quote-unquote a fun experience. But nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, prepared me for the day they wheeled in the human. My name is Dr. Kelvin Prash, and yes, before you ask, my parents named me after some ancient Earth temperature scale because they thought it was hilarious. They were diplomats. Weird sense of humor. Anyway, I am a Threnian, which means I have 4 arms, 3 hearts, and precisely 0 patience for nonsense. That last part is not a species trait. That is just me. It started on a Tuesday. Well, the equivalent of a Tuesday. Honestly, with 47 different species on this station, nobody really knows what day it is anymore. We just call it the second rotation after rest cycle prime. But Tuesday sounds better, so Tuesday it was. I was in the middle of reattaching a Kryloth's antenna when the emergency sirens started blaring. Now, emergency sirens on a space station can mean anything from a hull breach to someone microwaving fish in the communal kitchen again. Yes, fish. Do not ask me how we got fish. I do not want to know. My colleague, Nurse Veta Korm, came sprinting into my operating bay. And when I say sprinting, I mean all 6 of her legs were moving so fast she looked like a very panicked wheel. Veta is a hexapod, sweet as fermented nectar, but about as calm as a caffeinated squirrel during mating season. Dr. Prash. She practically screamed, her multiple eyes spinning in different directions. You need to come now. Emergency Bay 3. They brought in a what, Veta? Use your words. All of them. Preferably in order. A human. I stopped mid-suture. The Kryloth patient beneath me made a small whimpering sound, but I ignored him. Sorry, Trelex, but you can wait. This was important. A human, I repeated slowly, carefully, like I was tasting the word for the first time. As in, a member of species designation Homo sapiens? From planet Earth? Sol system? That human? Yes, Veta's voice cracked. Dr. Zalvex is already there, and he is. He is what? Death. Praying, sir. He is praying. Oh no. I handed my instruments to my assistant, ignored Trelex's protests about his half-attached antenna, and followed Veta at a dead run. Well, she ran. I sort of fast-walked with purpose. 4 arms do not make you aerodynamic, let me tell you that much. When I burst through the doors of Emergency Bay 3, I understood immediately why Zalvex was praying. The human was laid out on the medical table, and he looked absolutely terrible. His skin, normally a shade of what I believe they call tan, had gone a concerning gray color. Multiple lacerations covered his torso. His right leg was bent at an angle that would make a Gordonian pretzel jealous. And there was blood. So much blood. Red, iron-rich, completely terrifying blood. Dr. Zalvex, an elderly Morphean with scales that shimmered like oil on water, was indeed praying. His hands were clasped together, his 3 eyes closed, and he was muttering something in Old Morphean that roughly translated to "Please do not let this creature die on my watch, because the paperwork will be astronomical." Zalvex, I barked. Status, now. He opened his eyes, saw me, and the relief on his face was palpable. Crash. Thank the void. I do not know what to do. Look at him. Just look at him. I looked. The human was a male, appeared to be in his mid-30s by their aging standards, with dark hair matted with blood and what looked like engine coolant. His breathing was shallow, irregular. His pulse, I checked his neck because apparently they only have 1 heart like some kind of budget organism, was thready and weak. What happened? I demanded, already pulling on sterile gloves with all 4 hands. Cargo freighter accident, Veta explained, pulling up the transport report on her datapad. He was a mechanic on the SS Perihelion. The engine core went critical. He stayed behind to manually vent the plasma chambers while the rest of the crew evacuated. He stayed behind, I repeated flatly. Yes, sir. No. Nay. While a plasma core was going critical. Yes, sir. Yay. Why? Why? Veta blinked at me with her primary eyes. The report says he needed another 40 seconds to complete the emergency shutdown sequence. If he had not done it, the explosion would have destroyed the evacuation pods. I stared at the broken, bleeding human on my table. 40 seconds. This insane creature had stayed in a room with a critical plasma core for 40 seconds to save his crew. And now he was here, dying, on my table. Right? I said, snapping into professional mode. Veta, get me a full body scan. Zalvex, stop praying and start helping. We need to stabilize him before we can even think about surgery. But Prash, Zalvex whispered, his voice shaking. He is human. Do you understand? Human. I understand he is a patient, and patients do not die in my medical bay if I have anything to say about it. Now move. We went to work. The body scan came back, and I wanted to scream. 3 broken ribs, punctured lung, fractured femur. Radiation burns across 60% of his body surface. Internal bleeding in at least 4 locations. And his blood pressure was dropping faster than my faith in the universe's mercy. His hemoglobin levels are critical, Veta reported, her voice tight with stress. He needs a transfusion. Now. Do we have human-compatible blood? I asked, knowing the answer. No, sir. We have never had a human patient before. We do not stock type O negative. Of course we did not. Why would we? Humans were rare in this part of the galaxy. Most of them stayed in their own systems, doing whatever it was humans did. Building things, breaking things, apparently sacrificing themselves for their crews like absolute lunatics. Synthetic plasma? I tried. His biology might reject it, Zalvex said. Look at his cellular structure. It is so primitive, so fragile. One wrong chemical compound and we could trigger total organ failure. He is already in organ failure, I snapped. We have to try something. The human's breathing hitched. Stopped, started again. His lips were turning blue. I made a decision. Probably a terrible one, possibly career-ending. But I made it anyway. Get me a neural stabilizer and a full metabolic support rig. If we cannot fix his blood, we will bypass it entirely. Put him in stasis and pray his body can heal itself. Stasis. Veta's eyes went wide. Sir, his body is too damaged. If we put him in stasis now, he might never wake up. If we do not put him in stasis now, he will definitely never wake up. Start the procedure. The next 20 minutes were chaos. Beautiful, terrible, perfectly orchestrated chaos. Zalvex handled the neural connections while I worked on the metabolic support system. Veta managed the stasis field generators, her multiple limbs flying across control panels with practiced precision. The human's vitals were dropping, fast. His heart rate was erratic. His brain activity was spiking and crashing like ocean waves during a storm. Field generators at 70%, Veta called out. Neural pathways stabilized, Zalvex added. But barely. I was elbow deep, literally, in the human's chest cavity, trying to repair the damage to his lung with surgical nanobots. Human tissue was strange, elastic, resilient, but also impossibly delicate. One wrong move and I could tear something vital. Come on, I muttered. Come on, you stubborn creature. Stay with me. The human's eyes snapped open. I froze. Zalvex froze. Veta made a sound like a deflating balloon. Those eyes, blue, bright blue, focused, alert, completely aware despite the fact that he should have been unconscious from blood loss and trauma. He looked at me. Looked at my forearms buried in his chest, looked at Zalvex's scales, looked at Veta's multiple legs, and then, I swear by all 3 of my hearts, he smiled. Hey, Doc, he rasped, his voice like gravel in a blender. This the afterlife? Because it looks weird. I said slowly, carefully keeping my voice level despite my racing hearts, should be unconscious. Yeah, probably. He coughed, and blood flecked his lips. Sorry. Am I interrupting? Yes, you are interrupting your own medical procedure. Go back to being unconscious. I cannot. Tried. Did not work. He paused, his eyes tracking to the monitors around him. Those my vitals? Yikes. Those are bad numbers. Yes, they are very bad numbers. Which is why you need to stop talking and let me save your life. You are doing great, by the way. The thing with the nanobots. Very clever. He coughed again, harder this time. How much time do I have? I did not want to answer that. The truth was maybe 5 minutes. Maybe less. His body was shutting down despite everything we were doing. Enough time, I lied, if you let me work. Liar. But he smiled again when he said it. It is okay, Doc. I knew the odds when I stayed behind. Just do me a favor? What? Tell my crew I am sorry I could not make it to Velez's birthday party next week. She is turning 8. I promised I would teach her how to rewire a plasma conduit. His eyes were starting to glaze over. Kids should not have to learn plasma conduits alone. It is too dangerous. You are not dying today. I practically shouted. Veta, stasis field now, 90% charged. Not good enough. Zalvex increased the neural suppressors. They are already at maximum. The human was still smiling, still conscious, still absolutely refusing to follow any normal biological protocol. You know what the funny thing is? He said, his voice getting quieter. I always thought if I died, it would be quick. He asked, maybe an explosion, not slow like this. You are not dying, I repeated, but my hands were shaking. All 4 of them. Veta, stasis field at 100%. Activating now. The air around the human shimmered. The stasis field wrapped around him like a cocoon, freezing him in time, stopping all cellular processes, preserving what little life he had left. His eyes closed. His breathing stopped. His heart stopped. Everything stopped. Silence filled the operating bay. The only sound was the hum of the stasis generator and my own labored breathing. Is he? Zalvex started. He is stable, I interrupted. Stable means alive. Barely, but alive. I stepped back from the table, looking at the human suspended in the stasis field. His body was still broken, still bleeding, still a complete disaster, but he was not getting worse. And not getting worse was the best we could hope for right now. What do we do now? Veta asked quietly. Now? I pulled off my gloves, all 4 of them, and tossed them in the disposal unit. Now we contact Earth. We get human medical specialists. We get proper blood supplies. And we pray to whatever gods will listen that this insane, stubborn, ridiculous creature survives long enough for us to actually save him. Dr. Prash. Zalvex's voice was soft. Why did he smile? I looked at the human, at his frozen face, at that last smile still on his lips. I do not know, I admitted. I do not know, but I was going to find out. The next few hours were a bureaucratic nightmare. Contacting Earth authorities required going through approximately 7,000 layers of red tape, mostly because humans were weirdly protective of their own and wanted to know exactly why one of their citizens was currently frozen in an alien medical bay. I was on my 3rd cup of Cravian coffee, which tasted like battery acid but kept all 3 hearts beating, when the communication came through. The screen flickered to life, and a human woman appeared. She was older, maybe 50 by their years, with gray hair pulled back in a severe bun and eyes that could cut through hull plating. This is Director Emma Holt of Earth Medical Services. You requested emergency consultation? Yes, Director. My name is Dr. Kelvin Prash. I am head of trauma surgery at Galactic Medical Station Theta 9. We have a human patient in critical condition. We stabilized him in stasis, but his injuries are extensive, and frankly, we are out of our depth. Director Holt's expression did not change. Patient identification? I pulled up the file. Marcus Webb, age 34. A mechanic on the cargo freighter SS Perihelion. Sustained multiple traumatic injuries during a plasma core accident. Something flickered in her eyes. Recognition? Concern? It was hard to tell with humans. Their faces were so expressive and yet so difficult to read. Marcus Webb, she repeated. You said he sustained injuries during a plasma core accident? Yes. According to the reports, he stayed behind to complete an emergency shutdown while his crew evacuated. Suffered radiation burns, multiple fractures, internal bleeding, and catastrophic tissue damage. And he is alive? Barely. Director Holt was quiet for a long moment. Then she did something unexpected. She laughed. It was not a happy laugh. It was the kind of laugh someone makes when the universe has just confirmed their worst suspicions about reality. Of course he is, she muttered. Of course Marcus Webb would be the one to survive a plasma core going critical. That man has more lives than a Terran cat. You know him? Everyone in the Earth Defense Fleet knows Marcus Webb. He has a reputation. She leaned forward, her expression serious. Dr. Prash, I am sending you a full medical team. They will be there in approximately 6 hours with all necessary supplies and equipment. In the meantime, keep him in stasis. Do not, under any circumstances, let him wake up. He already woke up once during the procedure. Her eyes went wide. He what? He woke up. Mid-surgery. Started talking. Gave me recommendations on my nanobot technique. Director Holt put her face in her hands. Of course he did. Marcus, you absolute idiot. She looked back up at me. Dr. Prash, listen very carefully. If Marcus Webb wakes up again, sedate him heavily. I do not care if you have to use enough tranquilizer to drop a Gordonian battlecruiser. Keep him unconscious. Why? Why? Because if he is conscious, he will try to help. And if he tries to help, he will probably kill himself in the process. Marcus Webb is the kind of man who will walk through fire to save a stranger and then apologize for bleeding on your floor. She paused. 6 hours, doctor. Can you keep him stable for 6 hours? I looked at the stasis chamber where Marcus Webb hung suspended, broken and bleeding and somehow still smiling. Yes, I said. 6 hours, we can do that. Director Holt nodded. Good. And doctor? Thank you for saving him. Marcus, he is special. More than he knows. The communication cut off, leaving me alone with my coffee and my thoughts. Special. What did that mean? What made one human more special than another? They all seemed equally insane to me. I returned to the medical bay to find Veta running scans on the stasis chamber and Zalvex updating patient records. How is he? I asked. Stable, Veta reported. Stasis field is holding perfectly. No deterioration. No improvement either, but at this point, stable is good. I nodded, moving closer to the chamber. Up close, I could see the extent of the damage more clearly. The radiation burns were severe. 3rd degree, maybe 4th. The broken bones were bad, but fixable. The internal bleeding, that was the real problem. Human bodies apparently had a lot of blood vessels, and Marcus had managed to rupture a concerning percentage of them. What I do not understand, Zalvex said quietly, is how he survived long enough for rescue. The transport logs say it took 40 minutes for the emergency team to extract him from the engine room. 40 minutes with these injuries, with radiation exposure, with catastrophic blood loss. Humans are tough, I said. It was not an answer. It was a fact. A terrifying, inexplicable fact. Tough does not explain this, Zalvex countered. This is beyond tough. This is impossible, I suggested. Yes, impossible. I stared at Marcus Webb through the stasis field, at his broken body, at that smile. Maybe impossible is just another word for human, I muttered. The 6 hours passed slowly. I took blood samples, ran cellular analysis, and tried to understand human biology. It was fascinating. Their cells regenerated at a remarkable rate. Their immune system was aggressive to the point of being suicidal, and their pain tolerance, well, that explained why Marcus had been conscious during surgery. 3 hours in, the station commander called. Commander Blix was a Zorfian, which meant she looked like an octopus had a baby with a boulder. Terrifying to look at, but actually quite pleasant once you got to know her. "Dr. Prash," she said, her voice bubbling through her communication unit. "I heard we have a human on the station. News travels fast. News about humans always travels fast. They make people nervous." "Why?" Commander Blix's tentacles writhed, which was her species' equivalent of a shrug, "because they are unpredictable. Dangerous. They do things that do not make sense, like staying in a room with a critical plasma core to save people they barely know." "You heard about that?" "The whole station heard about that. Half the crew thinks he is a hero. The other half thinks he is insane." "What do you think?" Her tentacles stilled. "I think he is both. And I think we are very lucky he is on our side." After she disconnected, I found myself thinking about her words. Lucky. Were we lucky? Or were we just witnessing the natural result of a species that had evolved in one of the most hostile environments in the galaxy and somehow decided that was not challenging enough? Hour 5. Veta brought me food. I ate without tasting it. Zalvex took a break. I did not. I could not. Every time I looked away from the monitors, I imagined them flattening. I imagined Marcus Webb dying because I had not been vigilant enough. Hour 5.5. The station sensors picked up an approaching ship, Earth Medical Transport. Right on schedule. I met them at the docking bay. There were 4 of them, all human, all wearing matching medical uniforms with Earth Medical Services patches. The lead doctor was a tall man with dark skin and warm eyes. "Dr. Prash? I am Dr. James Kunis. This is my team. Where is Marcus?" "Emergency Bay 3. Still in stasis. Still stable." Dr. Kunis nodded. "Good, take us to him." They moved through the station like a well-oiled machine, efficient, purposeful, and completely unafraid. I led them to the medical bay, where Marcus waited. When Dr. Kunis saw him, he whistled low. "Marcus, what did you do this time?" "You know him too?" I asked. "Everyone knows Marcus. He is a legend." Dr. Kunis started examining the readouts, his fingers flying over the controls. Radiation, burns, multiple fractures, internal bleeding. "Yeah, this is about standard for him." "Standard?" "Last year, he manually repaired a hull breach during a meteor shower. Got hit by 3 separate pieces of debris. Walked away with a concussion and a broken arm." Dr. Kunis shook his head. "The year before that, he pulled 6 people out of a burning cargo hold. Inhaled enough toxic smoke to kill a normal person. Spent 2 days in medical, and then went back to work." I felt my primary heart skip a beat. "This is normal for him?" "For Marcus?" "Yeah. He has this thing where he just refuses to die. Drives his doctors crazy. Drives his friends crazy. Drives himself crazy, probably, but he does not talk about it." The medical team went to work. They brought equipment I had never seen before. Old devices specifically designed for human biology. Blood. Lots of blood. All type O negative. "We are going to bring him out of stasis slowly," Dr. Kunis explained. "His body needs to be strong enough to handle consciousness. If we rush it, we could lose him." Understood. They worked for 2 hours, slowly lowering the stasis field, monitoring every vital sign, transfusing blood, repairing tissue. It was beautiful to watch. Humans treating humans. They knew exactly what to do, exactly how to handle their own biology. Finally, Dr. Kunis stepped back. "Okay, he is stable enough. Let us wake him up." "Are you sure?" I asked. No, but with Marcus you are never sure. You just do your best and hope. They deactivated the stasis field completely. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then Marcus's chest rose, fell, rose again. His eyes flickered beneath his eyelids. And then they opened. Those same blue eyes, confused, disoriented, but alive. You alive. Hey, Marcus, Dr. Cooney said softly. Welcome back. Marcus blinked, looked around, saw the human medical team, saw me standing in the corner, and smiled. Did I miss Velez's birthday party? Dr. Cooney laughed. Actually laughed, like Marcus Webb waking up from near death and immediately asking about a child's birthday party was completely normal human behavior. The party is in 4 days, Marcus. You have time. Good. Marcus tried to sit up. Failed. Winced. Ow. Okay, that hurts. That hurts a lot. You have 3 broken ribs, a fractured femur, severe radiation burns, and we just finished pumping approximately 2 liters of blood back into your body, Dr. Cooney said, pushing Marcus gently back down. Of course it hurts. Stay down. We cannot. Need to check on the crew. Need to make sure everyone got out. We need to. Everyone got out, Marcus. All 23 crew members evacuated safely. Because of you. Because you gave them those 40 seconds. Marcus relaxed slightly. Good, that is good. He paused, his eyes finding me again. Hey, Doc, the one with 4 arms. You saved my life, right? I stepped forward, feeling oddly self-conscious. I stabilized you. Dr. Kunis and his team did the actual saving. Nah, you kept me alive long enough for them to get here. That counts. He extended his hand, which I later learned was a human greeting gesture. Thank you. I stared at his hand. It was covered in bandages, probably still broken in several places, and he was offering it to me. To shake, to make physical contact as a sign of gratitude. Carefully, very carefully, I took his hand with one of mine. His grip was weak, but present. You are welcome, I said, not knowing what else to say. Marcus, Dr. Cooney interrupted, we need to talk about your recovery. You are looking at minimum 3 months of physical therapy, possibly 6. The radiation damage to your tissues is extensive. 3 months. Marcus closed his eyes. Velez's party is in 4 days. You are not going to a birthday party in 4 days. Watch me. Dr. Cooney pinched the bridge of his nose, which I had learned was a human gesture of frustration. Marcus, I swear you are the worst patient in the entire Earth fleet. I try. Over the next week, I learned several important things about humans in general and Marcus Webb in particular. First, humans healed fast. Impossibly fast. What should have taken months took weeks. Second, humans were stubborn. Catastrophically stubborn. Marcus insisted on physical therapy twice a day despite the pain. And third, humans formed bonds quickly and intensely with anyone who showed them kindness. Marcus adopted me. There is no other way to describe it. He just decided we were friends now, and I had no say in the matter. Hey, Kelvin, he called out on day 3 of his recovery. He had started using my first name without permission. Very human. Come look at this. I set down my medical charts and walked over to his bed. What? He held up a data pad showing engineering schematics. Your medical bay's power distribution system is inefficient. You are losing approximately 12% energy through redundant pathways. If you reroute through the secondary conduits here and here, you could increase efficiency by at least 15%. I stared at him. You are supposed to be resting. I am resting. This is resting. Resting is boring. Fixing things is fun. You nearly died 8 days ago. Yeah, but I did not. So now I am bored. Let me fix your power grid, please. I will go insane otherwise. I looked at Dr. Kunis, who had stayed on the station to monitor Marcus's recovery. He just shrugged, If you tell him no, he will just do it anyway when you are not looking. Might as well supervise. So I let Marcus Webb, broken ribs and all, redesign my medical bay's power systems. And he was right. Efficiency increased by 17%. The lights were brighter. The equipment ran smoother. Even Veta noticed. "How did he do that?" she asked, her multiple eyes wide with wonder. "He is human," I said, as if that explained everything. Terrifyingly, it kind of did. Day 5. Marcus was walking. Slowly, with a cane that Dr. Cooney's had fabricated, but walking. He should not have been walking. His femur was still healing. But he was walking anyway, because apparently human bones just decided to knit themselves back together out of spite. "I need a favor," Marcus said, hobbling into my office. "No? Wow? You have not heard what it is yet?" "I do not need to. The answer is no. Go back to bed." "Kelvin, please. It is important." I sighed. All 3 hearts sighed, actually, which is a weird sensation. "What?" "I need to send a message to Velez, the little girl, from my crew. I promised her I would teach her about plasma conduits, and I need to explain why I cannot make it to her party. You are going to break a child's heart via video message. Better than not saying anything at all. She is 8. She will understand." I wanted to argue, wanted to tell him that he was being ridiculous. But the look on his face stopped me. It was not just guilt, it was genuine sadness. This little girl mattered to him. Mattered enough that even nearly dying had not made him forget his promise to her. "Fine," I said. "Use the communication terminal in room 7. You have 10 minutes. "Thank you," he smiled. That same smile. The one he had worn while dying on my operating table. "You are a good person, Kelvin." "I am a doctor. It is literally my job." "No, your job is to fix bodies. Being a good person is separate. You are both." He left before I could respond. Which was probably good because I had no idea what to say to that. Later, Veta told me she had monitored the call. "Not spying," she insisted. "Just making sure Marcus did not collapse from exhaustion." "He apologized to her," Veta said quietly. "To this little girl. Apologized for missing her party. For breaking his promise. And she just smiled at him and said she was glad he was alive. Said they could do plasma conduits when he got better. And then she made him promise to come to her 9th birthday instead." "And did he promise?" "Yes, and he meant it. I could tell. Humans, they mean their promises, do not they?" Apparently. Day 7. The SS Perihelion's captain arrived. Captain Linda Moss was a short, stocky woman with iron gray hair and the kind of presence that made you stand up straighter without thinking about it. She walked into Marcus's room like she owned the place, took one look at him sitting up in bed working on another datapad, and shook her head. "Marcus Webb, you absolute idiot." "Captain Moss." "Good to see you too. Do not good to see me. You nearly died." Again. "Do you have any idea how many years you have taken off my life with your heroic nonsense?" "At least 3? At least 5. But she was smiling. "The crew wanted me to give you this." She handed him a small package. Marcus opened it carefully, and I saw his eyes get suspiciously shiny. Inside was a hand-made card signed by all 23 crew members, and a small toy plasma core with a note that said, "Because you keep breaking the real ones." "Tell them thank you," Marcus said, his voice rough. "Tell them I would do it again." "I know you would. That is what terrifies me." Captain Moss sat down in the chair next to his bed. "We have been reassigned. New ship, SS Meridian. Newer model, better safety systems, less likely to explode." "That sounds boring. That sounds safe. Which is what I need after you gave me a heart attack." She paused. "There is a position for a chief mechanic if you want it, when you are recovered." "I am recovered now." "Marcus." "Okay, fine. When Dr. Cooney says I am recovered." When Dr. Cooney says you are recovered and you can pass a physical examination and you promise to stop trying to die in creative ways. Marcus grinned. I promise to try to stop trying to die in creative ways. I will take it. Captain Moss stood up. Get better, Marcus. The Meridian needs you. I need you. She hesitated. You are a pain in my backside, but you are my pain in the backside. Understood? Understood, Captain. After she left, Marcus was quiet for a long time. I was updating his charts when he spoke. Kelvin? Can I ask you something? You are going to anyway. Why did you save me? Really, you did not know me. I did not know if I was worth saving. You just did it. Why? I set down my datapad and looked at him. Really looked at him. This human who had sacrificed himself for his crew, who kept promises to 8-year-old girls, who fixed power grids from his hospital bed because sitting still was too boring. Because you needed saving, I said simply. That is enough. Is it? I mean, you said yourself. I am the first human patient you ever had. You did not know our biology. Did not have the right equipment. You could have waited for Earth Medical to arrive. You would have been dead before they arrived. Exactly. So why risk it? Why try? I thought about that. About my 3 hearts pounding as I worked on his broken body. About the fear that I would fail. About the determination that I would not. Because, I said slowly, every life matters. Human, Threnian, Morphean, does not matter. You were dying on my table, and I am a doctor. Saving you was not a choice. It was an imperative. Marcus smiled. You are definitely a good person, Kelvin. And you are definitely annoying. I try. Day 9. Dr. Kunis declared Marcus well enough to travel. Not fully healed, he stressed, but stable enough to continue recovery on Earth or on his new ship assignment. I will be monitoring your progress remotely, Dr. Kunis said, handing Marcus a medical tracker. Daily check-ins, physical therapy 3 times a week, and absolutely no manual labor for at least another month. Define manual labor. Marcus. Yes. Fine, fine. No manual labor. I will just supervise. Point at things. Give helpful suggestions. Why do I not believe you? Because you are smart. The day Marcus left was strange. I had known him for less than 2 weeks, but somehow it felt longer. He had become a fixture in my medical bay, a strange, stubborn, endlessly curious fixture who had somehow wormed his way into my professional routine. He hobbled into my office on his cane, looking significantly better than when he had arrived. The gray pallor was gone. The radiation burns were healing. His leg was still in a brace, but he could walk without wincing every step. Came to say goodbye, he said. You are coming back in 6 weeks for a follow-up examination. Yeah, but still. Goodbye for now. He extended his hand again. Thank you, Kelvin, for everything. For saving my life. For putting up with me. For being you. I took his hand. Shook it. Tried to ignore the weird feeling in my primary heart. Try not to die in the next 6 weeks, I said. The paperwork is terrible. He laughed. I will do my best. No promises, though. Trouble finds me. I noticed. He turned to leave, then stopped. Hey, Kelvin, if you are ever in Earth space, look me up. I owe you a drink. Or whatever Threnians drink. Probably something weird and fizzy. Fermented Cravian nectar, actually. Sounds terrible. I will buy you 2. And then he was gone. Walking out of my medical bay, out of my station. Back to his life of fixing things and breaking himself and keeping promises to little girls. I went back to work, treated a hexapod with a sprained leg, removed a parasite from a Gordonian's 3rd stomach, reattached Trilex's antenna. Finally, normal medical work, routine, safe. But something had changed. I kept thinking about Marcus, about his smile, about the way he had stayed conscious through surgery because his body just refused to quit. about how he had apologized to a child before thanking the people who saved his life. Veta noticed. Of course she did. You miss him, she said. Not a question. It's a statement. I miss having an interesting patient, I corrected. There is a difference. Is there? I did not answer. 6 weeks later, Marcus came back for his follow-up. He walked into the medical bay without a cane, looking healthy and whole and entirely too pleased with himself. Kelvin. Buddy. How have you been? I am not your buddy. Get on the examination table. So friendly. I missed you too. The examination went well. His bones had healed completely. The radiation damage had resolved with minimal scarring. His cardiovascular system was back to normal human parameters, which meant slightly insane but functional. You are cleared for full duty, I said, making notes in his chart. Try not to explode anything for at least a month. We cannot promise that. The Meridian has a finicky plasma injector. Might need percussive maintenance. Percussive maintenance is not a real thing. Tell that to the plasma injector. I was about to respond when Veta rushed in, all 6 legs moving in distress. Dr. Prash. Emergency. Docking Bay 12. There has been an accident. I grabbed my medical kit. Marcus grabbed his jacket. What are you doing? I demanded. Coming with you. I am cleared for duty, remember? You are not station personnel. No, but I am a mechanic, and if someone is hurt in a docking bay, it is probably equipment related. I can help. I wanted to argue, wanted to tell him to stay put. But Veta was already running, and people were hurt, and honestly, having Marcus along might actually be useful. We ran to docking bay 12. Well, I ran. Marcus sort of jogged. His leg was healed, but still not quite back to full strength. The scene was chaos. A cargo loader had malfunctioned, pinning a young Kreloth worker against a bulkhead. The machine was still active, still pressing, and the worker was screaming. We need to shut it down, someone yelled, but the emergency cutoff is not responding. Marcus was already moving, limping toward the loader with purpose. I need a plasma torch and a spanner. Now. Someone handed him the tools. He dropped to the ground, sliding under the loader despite his healing leg, despite the danger, despite everything. Marcus, what are you doing? I shouted. What I do best. Keep that Kreloth calm. I need 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Always 2 minutes with him. 40 seconds to save a ship. 2 minutes to save a life. I knelt next to the injured Kreloth. His name was Pax. He was young, barely 20 cycles old. His antenna was crushed. His carapace was cracked. He was going into shock. Pax, listen to me. You are going to be okay. The human is fixing the machine. Just stay with me. It hurts, Pax whimpered. It hurts so much. I know it does. But we are going to get you out. Just breathe. Keep breathing. Under the loader, I could hear Marcus working, the sound of metal on metal, sparks flying. And then his voice, calm and steady. Okay, on my mark, the pressure is going to release. Be ready to pull him out. 3, 2, 1. Mark. The loader groaned, shifted, released. Multiple hands grabbed Pax, pulling him free just as the loader crashed back down. Marcus rolled out from underneath, covered in grease and coolant, grinning like an absolute maniac. See? Percussive maintenance. Told you it was real. I wanted to yell at him. Wanted to scream about safety protocols and taking unnecessary risks and how he was supposed to be recovering, not sliding under malfunctioning heavy machinery. But Pax was free. Alive. Because Marcus had not hesitated. You are insane, I said instead. Yeah, probably. How is the kid? I looked down at Pax. His injuries were serious but treatable. He will live. Thanks to you. Thanks to us. You kept him calm. That matters. Marcus stood up, wincing slightly. Okay, my leg is definitely mad at me now. Worth it, though. U.S. I treated Pax in the medical bay while Marcus sat in the corner, icing his leg and looking entirely too satisfied with himself. When I finished, when Pax was stable and sedated, I turned to Marcus. You did not have to do that. Yes, I did. You could have been hurt. Again. Your leg is still healing. My leg is fine. A little sore, but fine. And that kid needed help. There were other people there. Station engineers. People whose job it is to handle equipment malfunctions. True. But I was there. I had the skills. I could help. So I did. He looked at me with those two blue eyes. Isn't not that what we do? You and me? We see people who need help, and we help them. I am a doctor. It is my job. And I am a mechanic. Fixing things is my job. But sometimes the things that need fixing are machines. Sometimes they are people. Sometimes they are situations. But it is all the same principle. See a problem. Fix the problem. Try not to die in the process. You are terrible at that last part. I know. Working on it. He stood up, testing his leg. I should get back to the Meridian. Captain Moss is probably wondering where I am. Marcus. Marcus. Yeah? I hesitated. There was something I needed to say. Something important. But the words felt strange in my mouth. Thank you, I finally managed. For helping. For being here. For being you, he smiled. That smile. The one I was starting to recognize. Not the smile of someone who did not care about death. The smile of someone who cared so much about life that death was just an inconvenience to be worked around. Anytime, Kelvin. Anytime. 3 months later, I received a message. It was a video file from Marcus. I almost deleted it, thinking it was just another one of his check-ins. But something made me open it. The video showed a birthday party. Balloons, a cake, and a little girl with bright eyes and a huge smile. Velez. She was 9 now. Dr. Prash, she said, waving at the camera. Marcus said, you saved his life. Thank you. Because of you, he was able to teach me about plasma conduits. Look. The camera panned to show a small, clearly safe, teaching model of a plasma system. Marcus was there, pointing out components, explaining systems, and Velez was listening with intense concentration. Then Marcus looked at the camera. Hey, Kelvin, just wanted to show you. This is why it mattered. Why staying alive mattered. Every moment we save someone, we are saving all the moments that come after. All the birthday parties. All the lessons. All the small, beautiful, ordinary things that make life worth living. Thank you for giving me this. See you at the next checkup. Try not to miss me too much. The video ended. I sat in my office for a long time, staring at the blank screen, thinking about humans. About Marcus Webb, about the nature of sacrifice and stubbornness, and why some species ran toward danger instead of away from it. Veta found me there an hour later. Are you okay, Dr. Prash? I think, I said slowly, I am starting to understand humans. And they are terrifying. And inspiring, and completely irrational. And somehow, despite all logic and reason, they make the universe a better place just by being in it. Is that why you have been researching human medical procedures? And taking courses in human biology? And putting in a request for human-compatible blood supplies? I looked at her. How did you know about that? Dr. Prash, I process all your requisitions. You have ordered enough human medical equipment to treat a small army. It's just being prepared. For what? What? I thought about Marcus. About the way trouble seemed to find him. About the statistical likelihood that he would end up back in my medical bay at some point. For the inevitable, I said. Humans have a way of making the impossible routine. Might as well be ready for it. Veta's eyes sparkled with amusement. You like him. He is a patient, a colleague, a friend maybe. But like is a strong word. You researched his favorite foods and made sure the station cafeteria could make them. That is just good patient care. You have a picture of him and Velez on your desk. I looked at the small holo frame. I had not even realized I had put it there. It had just seemed right. Fine, I admitted. I like him. He is annoying and reckless and refuses to follow medical advice. But he is also brave and kind and genuinely good. And yes, the universe is better with him in it. You should tell him that. Absolutely not. He would get even more insufferable. Veta laughed. Probably true. 2 years later, Marcus Webb got married, to an engineer named Patricia Lorne who, according to Captain Moss, was the only person stubborn enough to handle him. I got an invitation, actually attended, actually gave a speech at the reception that made Marcus cry, which he denied, but I saw the tears. 5 years later, he had a daughter, named her Kelvin. Said it was because I had given him a second chance at life, and he wanted to honor that. I told him he was ridiculous. He just smiled. 10 years later, I became the Galactic Medical Station Theta 9's leading expert on human biology. Not because I planned to, not because I wanted to, but because Marcus Webb had walked into my medical bay, refused to die, and somehow convinced me that humans were worth understanding. And he was right. They are worth understanding, worth saving, worth befriending. Because humans do not just survive, they live, they love. They promise 8-year-old girls they will teach them about plasma conduits, and then they keep those promises, even if it means nearly dying to do it. Humans run toward danger because someone needs help. They sacrifice themselves because it is the right thing to do. They smile while dying because they know their life meant something. Marcus Webb taught me that. He taught me that medicine is not just about fixing bodies. It is about preserving moments, about giving people the chance to keep their promises, to attend birthday parties, to teach and learn and love and live. And that, I realized, is why they prayed when the human woke up in the alien hospital. Not because they were afraid of humans, but because they hoped that if humans could survive the impossible, maybe the rest of us could too. Maybe we could be a little braver, a little kinder, a little more willing to run toward danger if it means helping someone. Maybe we could all be a little more human. I am Dr. Kelvin Prash. I have been working at Galactic Medical Station Theta 9 for 27 cycles now. And I can tell you with absolute certainty that the day Marcus Webb was wheeled into my medical bay was the day my life changed, because I did not just save a human that day. In a lot of ways, he saved me too. And that is the thing about humans. They have this habit of saving people, even when they are the ones who need saving. Even when they are broken and bleeding and should be unconscious. They just keep smiling, keep fighting, keep living. And somehow, impossibly, they make the rest of us want to do the same.